So last season, we grew what I'd say pretty successful green crack pheno because it's curing well. It smells phenomenal. It's not as dense as we wanted, but it has decent trichome development. And on top of that, I just think that they look pretty good overall.
Yeah, I mean they have a very solid smell. I mean I smelled it as soon as you cracked it open. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's a good thing though. The smell travels quickly, and like you said, the trichome development is nice. And it has a solid mixture of color in there. You know what I mean? It's the green, obviously, but then we get the nice oranges that you see prominent in some green crack phenotypes. So it looks pretty good. A lot less purple than we saw from the stuff last year because last year we ran them a little bit longer, so they got a little bit colder.
Then I think the purple also came from the indoor one mainly, I believe.
That cut, that's true. It could have
Yeah.
been from that one cut.
I mean, they were more purple compared to this on the fence line, but like this one nug right here, real solid, real good. Just density. Like I said, a lot of it was good. Some of it needs improvement, and that's what we're looking to do because for this next year, we're going to run a couple of grows. Hopefully, harvest 2 or 3 times, maybe even 4 times. We'll see, but we'll get there eventually. And our next season is really what we're dicing up because we want to figure out how we can really increase bud density. Is my number one question.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, because like last year we wanted to focus, well, going into this year, I should say, we wanted to focus on more training methods and like more structure because last year it was more like free flow, let the plants outdoors grow how they grow. Let's just see what the outdoor can do for our plants. And we saw them do good, but then this year it was like, okay, we need to cut off some branches, train, lollipop, and do those things. So we saw the benefits from that. So then, yeah, moving forward, it's all right. Now, how can we maximize our density on those nugs and not just
Right.
those top 2 or top 3?
I think part of it's going to come from the feeding schedule. The other part is going to come from just keeping the plant health and color overall green and strong the whole time. Because if you look, even right now with the mother that we have right now, the new mother for the green crack, she has quite a bit of purple stems.
Right.
A lot of purple branches. So we'll see how it affects it. I think trying to get it back on track towards just being green all the time. I think that's why we put the biofish regularly into her feeding schedule. So we're hoping to have that affected and bounce back. Maybe it needs something like CalMag. We're not really sure. It doesn't really seem to be lacking any calcium or magnesium, though. No really yellow spots or stains in the fans. It's mainly just the branches are a little purple towards the top.
Yeah, they're just a little bit stressed. I mean, we did see that a lot in previous years, but then moving into this season, we did see it a lot less, I should say, at least for throughout the entire plant. Because sometimes
compared to our previous experience.
yeah, sometimes we would see them on the
Experience,
branches, like closer towards the end of the branch, closer to the nug, but not on the main stem, or not overtaking the entire plant, which was
Right.
good. But like you said, hopefully you could just cancel that out entirely, and just stay on top of all the deficiencies. Like before we even see anything, make sure that the pH level of everything is what it should be. That way, when we add water, it's not just gonna mess something up and streamline everything out of what it needs to be. So
Yeah, I think that watering can be a little more optimized. Watering for the 10 to 20% runoff, I think, would be a little bit better. And just kind of watering till it's just pulled up.
yeah,
Like how we did. And obviously, I'm aiming to increase the trichome and oil production because these had decent trichomes, but I feel like we actually did better last season in terms of trichome production.
I could see that. Yeah.
Now, I can't attest to the oil production yet because I haven't tried the buds, and I don't actually want to until I feel like it's like, that's the smell. That's it.
Yeah.
Because I want the aroma and taste to fully be there when I try it. I could right now, and I could compare it, but I want to first experience this season's bud
to be
Probably more
yeah,
around, probably in about 2 to 3 weeks. More towards, what's it called? Thanksgiving.
which would
It's
be
Halloween right now. Happy Halloween.
happy
But
Halloween, everyone. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a good, reasonable length of time for us to let it develop further into what it is. Because over just the last week and a half, the smell has increased drastically. Not even just those that are in the curing, but the ones that are still hang drying. So I mean, in this whole throughout everything growing, you have to be patient through each stage. When you plant your seed in the water, you gotta just wait. When you put it in your soil, you gotta just wait. Nothing changes when it comes to the end. So now it's just we gotta just wait for the smell that we want, like you said, waiting for it to smell at least, even if it doesn't fully match, at least to our standard, it should be a certain thing. So waiting for them, I agree. We should just wait to taste them because I see them still improving.
that, I think we need to improve the environment and the conditions we put these plants in. I think the Durban is a great example. It did really well. They're hanging, they're drying right now, and they have a phenomenal smell. But I think the key that we can improve on is the fact that, well, if they had the optimal heat,
Throughout the entire, yeah,
we could really have seen maybe a much
bigger,
better
yeah.
Durban, you know?
Because the way that the heat was during like the middle of the summer is, well, I guess towards the end of the summer, right before plants went into flowering, it was like we really saw like a growth increase. So yeah, it was in its target range, and we saw the effects in a good way. So yeah, if we set our tents and our environments to what the plants need to be the entire time, I think we should see increase in trichomes, nug size, and less stress of plant stems.
That we've always had issues with our humidifiers kind of shorting out on us. That happened again this season, so I think we got to actually get a step up in terms of the type of humidifier we're buying, rather than just the reptile ones. We got to get one that would be like, you put in a room
Yeah,
to just have that way. My theory is if it maxes out, it'll turn off a lot more, and if it turns off more, it won't short out.
yeah, because I mean that means that the room's regulated to what it should be, and it's not like needing to continuously fight back to reach it.
Reach it, yeah. Because I don't think, I don't like even in those early stages, which I think really is what shorts it out. Is I don't think the tent is ever hitting 70,
Yeah,
and it's like, yo, let me get a rest. I still got like 3/4 of a tank of water. It's
Yeah.
more like I'm out of water.
Refill, please.
It's 6 p.m. You filled me at 12 p.m.
Yeah,
and it's only 55%. Like maybe that's it on a good day.
yeah. So I agree. Early on and later on for when the colder times in the late summer comes, we need to have the tents regulated to what it ideal environment should be. And going with the green crack Mediterranean temperature, it'll be easier to moderate going in the mid 70s to mid 80s rather than going mid 80s to low 90.
Yeah.
It'll be a lot easier because, like you said, it won't have to short out the heater if running a heater.
Well, that said, I was gonna say, do you think each tent should get a heater? Because, excuse me, in order to mimic that like high summer in the Mediterranean, you want like an 87 to be your high in the middle.
Yeah,
You want to start out around like 75, 78, and then you can go 78 to 84 in your like veg stage, and then right before your transition, you want to get to an 84 to 87. And when you're transitioning and you're in your first stage to a flower, you're in that 87-degree area, and then you're going to drop down towards 82 by the end of the flower. That way it gets nice and kind of cool, but it's still warm enough.
yeah. I honestly, maybe we should. I don't know how the new room will be for the newer tents, but definitely for the shed, I should get something back there. Like I was saying, even if we have to just extend that outlet from a 2-block outlet to a 4, so that we're not just running a heater into that extra power strip,
Yeah.
that might be ideal. But I mean, honestly, in the wintertime, that second outlet isn't run because we don't use those outdoor lights through that thing back there in our backyard. So that's an option further. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I think it'll be exciting to see what the Green Crack just does indoors after we just saw it only outdoors last season,
Yeah.
this past season. So it'll be cool. We get like an opposite of the same pheno.
I'm pretty excited because, like you said, there was a lot of increased growth on this season, but there is still many things that we want to do and like hope to get done properly. Not just I want to try it this way. Like no, we want to maximize our nug density and know how we did it while maintaining that in the future. So yeah, there's obviously different ways, but maybe the indoors it'll be easier for us to regulate those things and test rather than being outdoors where it's raining one day so we can't go outside for the week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nothing. Trying different things in the tents this coming season. I think we'll see benefits in the long run for sure. The way we saw some this year.
Yeah, and changing some things up in the tents. I definitely want to get back to our pH monitor broke on us in the middle of our first season.
Yeah.
So I want to get back, get a replacement one, get back to measuring pH with the water that we're feeding the indoor plants. That way, not only are they getting the right pH, the nutrients are set in there too.
Yeah.
That way, like we're feeding them a mix again, almost like we were doing with our hydroponics, but rather than hydroponics, just mixing what we're going to feed into the soil. Well, really though, that's the other thing we're changing too. We're
70-30.
Change up our medium a little bit, and we want to just run the Canna line because we've tried different lines. We did like a combo last season where I was like, we'll give it what we need when we need it, and the top feeding was good. I don't know. We haven't found a consistent, what's it called yet, with anything we try, a consistent like success rate with it. So we want to find. We're hoping that this Canna line will come through
For sure.
and work with us.
I mean, they have a lot of different products too, so it's not just pigeonhole into one specific thing. It's like, no, they offer a lot of options for the same things that we were already using.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not jumping into something completely new. It's just going under a new name and just a little bit different formula and approach to feeding them. So yeah, I think moving with the Canna stuff this go around, it'd be easy to stay on the schedule because like yesterday you were calculating the feeding schedule, so it's like you're already fully in control of it. You know what I mean? Not having to go otherwhere to find a schedule. You know what I mean? It's like no, setting up our own schedule for it. I think it'll be easier to follow just that one main line throughout the full grow, and then just add in and take out things that they offer.
Yeah, and I think it'll be fun because we calculated it down to having 2-gallon pots for the whole season. That way, we can have a couple of plants in each tent because we should have the 4x4 and the 3x3 if we can get the heater. Really is the main key. We need at least one heater. We need a heater for the 3x3. The 4x4 should have a heater just so it can get to the temperatures we need it to get to. But to start the season, it won't be necessary because we want it to be around like 75 to 78 in that range in the cloning phase, and then into the what's it called, mimicking like a spring up into a summer.
And being inside of a house and a tent, being in a 70-degree is very doable because most households in the wintertime sit around the 69 degrees temperature. So
yeah, exactly. So getting the tent to be a couple degrees higher with the battery running from the light, and just everything. And yeah, we should be able to get some, even if we just get a humidifier in, because there are humidifiers. Remember, E told me he had one that gave off and put heat into the tent for it. So.
Or what if you even just run like a heating pad under the things, like how they have the heating pads for the seedling stage? Like, I mean, I don't see why having it under the pot. I don't know if it'll affect it that much. It'll just, you know what I mean. That way, it's. I don't think it'll do the same thing, but in
I
a
think
way.
the only issue with that maybe shorten out the heating pad if we overwater one day or something.
That's a good point.
That's my only sus thing with that, having it in the what's it called too. But we do need to focus on cloning upcoming, and we're going to need to use that heating pad that we have in the cloning tent. So
For sure.
we have about 8 I marked about 8 or 9 potential clones on the mother, so we should be able to get a nice first batch, excuse me, from her, and then she should bounce back well. I think actually giving her a first trim.
Yeah, I mean,
It's gonna be,
there's a lot
should
of
be good.
branches, so there's a lot of space for them to come back strong. And yeah, so I guess she's basically waiting on us to be ready.
Yeah, and she also did. This is actually pretty funny. She spent a lot of time outside of the 4x4 in the past month, just being under like these lights essentially because we were using the 4x4 to finish the Durban off because it was
It's turning winter in the middle of fall.
yeah, it was getting way too cold. The buds were gonna rot, and I think we saved them luckily. So
Yeah. Honestly, I think if we left them out there any longer, it would have went bad because these last few weeks, like the nights have been freezing.
yeah, and they should be ready to trim. I think by like next Monday because they are actually taking quite a slow time to dry. The first bench that we took down from the 4x4 was like they've been up longer than yours, and they feel almost the same.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see, but should have a very exciting season. I'm excited to run the Canna line. I'm really hoping that we can just get a nice, dense bud that looks good, smells good, and tastes good.
I hope
When it
so too,
smokes,
because
yeah.
honestly, last season, like mentioned last year, when like we wanted to test if our terp profile matched, we asked my cousin, who was a chef, has a great smell for things. Hey, what is the smell you're getting from this? And the fact that we hit the terp profile and just not really doing much, so it was like we want to try to stay true to that for everything going forward. So hopefully, with these buds, when they finish curing, they smell true to what we hope they smell to, and also everything going forward.